been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on a midnight train.
What's up, guys? Tristan and Tony here with the Zero Duck 30 podcast. If you've been following us for a while, you know that our app that we love to use for GPS and all that good stuff is the Huntwise app. Tony, why don't you tell us what the Huntwise app is allowing us to do with our followers?
So check this out, guys. For a limited time, you can get 20% off their Pro and Elite versions. Go download the app, at least try it for free, and check it out, because that's a 20% savings. That's huge. So we love Huntwise. We're going to be having Huntwise on the podcast here soon, and you guys are going to find out if you go out there and use it in the field. You'll figure out what the best product is.
And the code is Duck30. I'll put a link in the bio to everything, and so you guys can find it. So today's guest is the Flock Doc. The Flock Doc is coming to us out of Idaho. His name's Drew Rossman, and we had talked for a couple years on social media. I don't really even remember how we met on social media, but we've advanced to the point talking to where we're going to go out and hunt with him this year, and it's just pretty cool. And he's just a neat guy. He guides for a company called, or an organization called Idaho Back Country Veterans. He'll tell you more about that. And he's part of Drake Waterfowl's field team staff and stuff. So he's an interesting guy, and definitely wanted to get him on the podcast to share with you guys. So
no. And when Tristan said, hey, why don't we have the Flock Doc on? I thought, you know what? That's great, because when you watch anything in the mainstream of duck hunting, first and foremost, it's the greenheads, right? It's the greenheads in Arkansas. It's the greenheads, and go to Kansas now and Oklahoma, and nobody knows where the ducks are. But this guy smokes the ducks in Idaho, man.
For sure.
I mean, when Tristan started telling me, "Oh, Dad, you need to look at his stuff," I was like, "Damn, he does shoot some ducks, man." So.
Well, heck yeah, Drew. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I guess to start, why don't you tell us a little bit about, how you got into duck hunting and just kind of your background growing up in Idaho?
Cool. Yeah. Truth be told, I wish I was from Idaho. I'm not. I grew up in Western Washington.
Okay.
And then got a couple small grants for college baseball. Bopped around a little bit. Mm-hmm. Finished my school up in Iowa, and then Sarah and I, my wife, we moved to Idaho, and I had never duck hunted before in my life. Mm-hmm. And my buddy, his dad lives on the river, and actually he lives on the river now too, but legitimately on the Snake River. And he's like, "Oh man, you hunt, let's go try duck hunting." And we're like, "Okay, cool." So me and a buddy who also hadn't went out before, we grew up together. We went out with him, and man, talk about just a terrible first experience when it comes to weather. It was it was 18 degrees. The wind was blowing, snow on the ground. We're sitting here in these cheap Walmart waders that he had as extras, just sitting on the riverbank, no blind, nothing. And we threw some decoys out, and we were late getting there. Obviously, it's just a mess. And, all of a sudden, 5 ringnecks land in the spread out of nowhere, and we smoked them all. We absolutely just destroyed them. And we went out, picked them up, sat back down on the side of the bank. We looked at each other, and we even had a little heater going. We were like, man, part of the language, we're like, man, F this. We are out of here. So we loaded up his little 12-foot John boat and just cruised right back across the river to his house, and we called it quits, man. But that was my first duck hunting experience, and a core memory too for me, because just something I've never experienced. Animals coming into your area, right?
Sure.
Every other kind of hunting is pretty much seeking them out, but you kind of seek them out with the scout, but it's really up to them whether they want to come in or not. Yep. So that was my first experience, totally off the wall, super random, and it was a blast. It got me hooked.
Heck yeah, man. most people, their first duck hunting experience too, you hear the story about either it being cold or hot or whatever, and then they're like, yeah, and then we didn't get anything. So it's, at least the 5 ringnecks came in to make it a little better, you know?
Yeah.
Right, just a one and done too. We're like, okay, cool, we're out of here. I don't even know how many we can shoot, but we are leaving.
That's awesome, man. Well, heck yeah. Well,
So how old was you whenever that was? Was that in Idaho or?
Yeah, so that was in Idaho,
On
man.
the
That
Snake.
was
Okay.
yeah.
that was on the Snake. That was, let's see, it's 2022 now. That was probably, I think that was 2017. I
Nice.
think. Yeah, so like I haven't been duck hunting like for forever, but when I started, I just hit the ground running, man. Like after that, I started going and buying, you know, like the classic Craigslist decoys and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Painting stuff up, like touching them up by hand, and bought a boat the next year. Got a little 30 Johnson for it, and man, we were rolling. You know, just that's how I got started.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Now, was that on like public land? I guess if you're on the Snake, then I guess it's like public area or whatever.
Yeah. So the way it works over here is, I mean, the river's public land. You can, there are some islands that are private, but like no matter what, high water mark is public land. So even if someone owns that island, owns the land across on the bank, whatever, like as long as you're below the high water mark, which is pretty high on the Snake River because it can fluctuate pretty crazy in the spring and summertime, you're good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, do you guys, and I might be kind of jumping the gun a little bit here, but I mean, obviously that's on the river. You're dealing with the depths of the river and stuff. I mean, do you guys, when you were hunting that, like on your first hunt, was that like in a cove or something? Or do you guys just set up around the river and just said, hey, let's go?
Essentially, yeah, a little cove. Just a little small cutout. Like in that spot, you could walk probably, I don't know, like a third of the way out in the middle of the river. I mean, it's decently shallow.
Nice.
Heck yeah. So with hunting the public land out there, you know, you got linked up with the Idaho Back Country Veterans and stuff. So kind of talk about how did you meet up with those guys? You know, my dad's obviously we have some kind of interest in the military stuff. My dad's ex-Navy, and so it's, you know, it's pretty cool that you're doing that kind of thing. And yeah.
So when my parents moved down here, when my parents moved down here a couple years ago, they got some new neighbors across the way, and he volunteered heavily with Idaho Back Country Veterans. We'll just call it IBV.
Okay.
And the main founder, his name's Kevin McFarland.
Okay.
Super nice guy. He just wants to give back. Like that's all he wants to do. Like just wants to give back, help veterans. He's a vet himself. And like when you look at it, like if you're looking to help a vet, like taking somebody hunting is one of the easiest ways you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spend money on it, really. I mean, you're just taking them along for the ride. You're going anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I got linked up with them, and this year, like, definitely, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I really went on many hunts without at least Kevin coming along, like, and going with us. Like, it's just a good time, man. Like, taking people out. I text Kevin, be like, hey, like, I got room in my boat. Like, let's get somebody here, and just, I mean, pretty casual about it, but man, we took a lot of people out, and it's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
That's so cool, man. And I'm sure the relationships that you've made through that, I'm sure they're, you know, priceless a lot of times.
Oh yeah. I mean, Kevin and, you know, Tim, my dad's neighbor, they're some of my better friends now, and just great people.
Well, you know, what a lot of people don't realize about some of these programs, and it's hard for somebody to relate that's not a veteran or that isn't active duty or served, is that these provide channels for people, and they might be dealing with PTSD, they might be dealing with, you know, many physical conditions. You know, they might be wounded warriors, whatever it might be, and it just gives them a channel to enjoy the outdoors, have that camaraderie. And that's one of the biggest things about it, is that, you know, when you get out of the military, and all vets will say this, it's just that you miss that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that you could lock arms with a brother and you know that guy's got your back no matter what. And we do the same thing in the hunting community, you know, so to speak. So I think it really helps that's where that gap gets filled there with veterans, is that we really get attached to that stuff, you know.
Heck yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like you mentioned the camaraderie. Like I didn't serve myself, but like if I could put something in retrospect, just in my life, like I played college baseball all the way throughout the end of my college career and schooling. So like one thing I miss from that is the camaraderie, for sure. Like anybody I've played baseball with, and I've played on a bunch of teams. I played for over 20 years.
Wow.
Like, I can call them up. I got a place to stay. They can call me up. They got a place to stay. So like, man, like even if you haven't talked to them in a long time, I definitely know what you're talking about with that camaraderie, for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. So thank you for doing that, and thank you to, what was his name again? It was
Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah,
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin, for doing what you do. That's awesome stuff.
Heck yeah. So when you're, you know, scouting out there, we can't even imagine what scouting for ducks out on the Snake River would be like, just based off your pictures and videos and that kind of stuff. So how, like, if you're going out to scout, what do you do to scout on the Snake River? Like, how does that happen?
Dude, I'm gonna blow your mind right now.
Yeah.
I scout from my truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of roads and dirt roads that go along the river. For me, that's the best and easiest way to do it. Like, like I said, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I mean, I can even load them up in the car seats and I can go scouting if I got nothing going on, which I've done plenty of times.
Heck yeah.
Like Bo, my 3-year-old, he's got this little like kids binoculars, you know, and like I'll stop and I've got my spotting scope out there and I roll the window down for him and he's just looking at with his little binoculars. It's so funny. I'll send you all a picture later. I got pictures of it, but it's a good time, you know. But pretty rarely, like, I don't know, maybe like I went out and scouted on the boat twice this year. Like 99% of the time it's from the truck.
Wow.
Gotcha.
See, that's so interesting. Like, it did blow our mind. It's so different from the world we're accustomed to, you know?
Well, and Drew, is that just because, I mean, what I'm envisioning, and I know every state's got different parts that look different, but when I see the pictures and stuff, it looks like you've got a lot of, like, you'd be able to see a lot of open areas, so ducks falling. Like for example, you could scout a little bit in Arkansas from a truck, but at some point you're like, they went down in the woods over there somewhere, and you lose track of them at the tree line. Well, it looked like out there that you don't, in a lot of places, there's not a lot of trees, you know, so is it that you can really see where they're going down?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've got my one favorite spot that I really like to scout, like not only just to hunt that spot, but this is kind of one of those areas where you can really judge the migration just overall. We hunted this, Kevin was with us this hunt. Kevin and I hunted this one little spot, and like, I'm like, dude, like I went, like I scouted it. The birds love it. They sit there, they chill all day, even the geese. He's like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we did it, and dude, we had hundreds of mallards flying around us.
Wow.
But we couldn't get any to do it. And they kept going, like just up, like back and to our left. And I couldn't figure it out. And then like a week later, I happened to be scouting there again, and there's a big feed like across the river. And all of a sudden they all got up, and I got to watch them all land. And I'm talking like 200-300 birds. Like, they're all landing, and they're landing in that spot that was back to our left. And what they do is they would float down and chill where we were hunting.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay, like this is bullshit.
No kidding.
I got it half right. Like, I can't believe like I didn't get a little reward. But like, unfortunately, the next time I hunted, Kevin wasn't with me. He was a really good buddy. His name's Steve. He's taxidermist here in the valley. And dude, it's just the two of us. We had our duck limit by like 9:30, and then we had our goose limit by like 11, and we were out of there.
Wow.
Dude, it was just lights out. One of the coolest hunts I've ever been on. So I mean, you just gotta be where they want to be, man. Like, I did it on like Onyx. There's like maybe 150 yards. That's it. And that 150 yards was the difference to like 3 birds and coming home with a duck and goose limit for 2 people.
That's the truth about, you can be 100, 150 yards off like that. I mean, it's, like I said, a completely different world down here. But we've hunted before, and the spot that we're in, like the impoundment that, if we're doing a quota hunt that, let's say we have rights to or whatever, we've been where just the other side of the dike, they're just pouring into. Those guys are out of there by 8 o'clock, and we're like have like 3 birds at 11:30.
Right, that you shot him at like 45 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're so thick over there that I could put my magazine extension tube on my gun and run down that dike and fire off 15 shells. And guess what? They're all going to land right back there because it's just where they want to be. Yep. I mean, it's just crazy. Right. So, yeah, no. So, Drew, one thing that I thought was interesting that Tristan told me about as the season progressed is, I know you're way up there up north, and Tristan comes to me, he's like, look, Dad, he goes, he's smoking these, and it's like 20th of January or something. I'm like, that's illegal. Because like you got states like Illinois and stuff, like in the northern zones, they're shutting down in December. But I think that's a really cool thing that the state of Idaho does, is keep it open that late. So talk a little bit about your season dates and stuff.
Yeah, so they just released them for us, like I think it was last week, and this year it's like I think it's mid-October, like starts the 3rd week of October, and actually this year actually goes through the end of January, so January 31st.
Nice.
And one thing I don't like that Idaho does is they do their youth and vet hunt before season, which is kind of rough. Like we got birds, don't get me wrong. Like if you know where they're at, you can hammer them, and I've seen people hammer them on the youth vet weekend, but it's really slim picking. And the only other crappy part about so early in the season is like if you're looking to like take a bird home like as a trophy or mount it, man, like good luck, because they're so pin feathered, it's not even fair.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But Oregon does their vet hunt after season, and right now I live about like 6-7 miles from the Oregon border. Oh wow! So I'm a boat ride down there, So I mean, every once in a while I hunt down there, but we did that for the vet hunt this year, and I mean we limited out with greenheads for Kevin and another vet we took.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's more realistic that way. But going back to the original question, it's super interesting because October and early November, like the first month of season, it's pretty slim pickings. Like we haven't got the migration yet. You're getting a lot of local birds, and like the first 2 weekends you might do well just because those local birds aren't the smartest in the world. Right. But the 3rd and the 4th week, man, it's rough, dude, because we haven't got the weather. Like those local birds are still hanging around. They've seen every decoy you've put out. It's rough. But when you get into late November, and like I love the 2nd and 3rd week of December, man, it's fire, dude. Like it's hot. And you truly get the migration for sure. You can tell. Like I live on the river, and I can just see the birds flying the river every night. And like around that time, man, it just gets heavy. You just see clouds of birds, and it slows down kind of like the end of January, but from mid-December to mid-January, dude, that to me, that's the best time to hunt.
See, that blows my mind because, we go to, let's say, Arkansas, right? And we're there for the second split opener. Let's just say the second split, right? We've been down there on the opener and the week before the opener, and we've been to different rest areas where there's so many ducks that it just doesn't look like there could be any more than that, Yeah. And then this guy is, Drew's sitting there telling us, it doesn't get good until the middle of December. What are you talking about, man? I mean, we're down in the Midwest and the South already expecting the birds to be here, but truly they're tough birds, and they don't go any further south than they have to.
Sure. No. One thing that's really interesting, you'll find this kind of interesting, Drew, is so we hunted Florida last year when it was the coldest or the biggest cold front that has gone through Florida since 2008 or 2007. Like it was like 30 in Miami even. And
Damn, good old global warming.
Yeah,
right, exactly. No shit, yeah. So, but we hunted that weekend, man, and it was there was not a fresh push of birds. It was the most stale birds ever. And I think Florida is like those birds just migrate and they're there for the year. And once they see everything, they freaking are stale, you know?
Well, that's the way it is. And you know, everywhere else in the country, well, I can't say everywhere else, but definitely the central and Mississippi flyways, you know, the birds in this Atlantic flyway, they go as far south as they need to go, and they just don't move.
Yeah.
I mean, they might, you know, maybe 50 miles here or whatever, but when you get down to like South Central Florida and stuff, and especially when you can go to some of those areas that have been managed really well, there's tens of thousands of birds, you know, down there, and they just don't jump back and forth like I see in Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, you know, a lot of those states. You know, we see it all the time. They're going up, they're going down, they're going up, they're going down, you know, and it's just not the same in the Atlantic flyway.
For sure.
Yeah, like every once in a while, like you mentioned, like going up and down, like every once in a while, we'll get a decent, like reverse push. Only reason is because we have Salt Lake right below us, like 5-6 hours away. And you talk about like the Mecca for like the Mecca pit stop in the Western Flyway, Salt Lake. It's massive. It's insanely big. Like look at it on a map when you're done with the call. Like it's insane. It's massive. And the amount of birds on that lake is just ridiculous. So like if we get a strong storm like coming up from the south, like we will get a small push of birds, but most of the time I'm really watching the weather for like those really gnarly northern storms and trying to get like a day or day and a half ahead of it.
Heck yeah.
I need to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back.
What's up, guys? We're back. So, Drew, we wanted to ask you, you know, you have these awesome reels on Instagram that you do that with your drone footage and stuff, and I wanted to ask you, you know, kind of what's your strategy on posting the reels to kind of maximize your people seeing them and that kind of thing, your engagement, and B, what goes into like the drone that you get, and then what goes into actually getting the footage.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, just touch on the drone that you use.
Yeah,
Yeah, no problem. I guess I can start off with the drone. I've got a DJI Mavic 3. It's a little spendier, but like we're kind of looking at it. My wife does photography, so we're like, okay, like look, we can not only use this for like fun, but like you can use it for your business. So that's the one we end up with there. But as far as like just getting some like good drone footage and stuff, like I'm just looking for like interesting things, to be honest, like just good views. Like I've got some videos I haven't really posted yet that are just kind of fun. We went to the park one day, like there's a bunch of fishing ponds, like just for a walk, and they've always got ducks there year round. But the downfall is the water is so disgusting in the spring. like there's just like duck and goose crap everywhere. The water is like murky, like green, dude. It's nasty, but like it's a cool video, you know, like it's like I start in the weeds and I fly out of the weeds and then like pan up and down, like and then catch the sun, like the skyline. It's kind of fun, you know. But specifically for like hunting and stuff, like you can't fly and hunt like within 24 hours, right?
Okay.
And like there's certain laws too, like you got to be 400 feet max high, and then like you always have to keep it within sight. I mean, but I mean, that one's kind of a bendy rule, right? Like within sight, it's like, well, yeah, I can see it. It's like it's that way.
Yeah.
I've got my spotting scope I use when I go elk hunting, and I can see it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like so. I mean, I'll be sitting on my front porch and I'll fly it over the river, just because I'm bored, like, and I enjoy it, you know. So, some of those river shots are actually from my front door.
That's so
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
How did the birds react to it?
They don't love it, honestly, and that's kind of one thing that's been like a learning curve, is trying not to spook them to get like a good shot. And that drone has a zoom on it, so what I'll do is I'll stay a couple hundred feet up in the air and just turn the zoom on, and I'm able to still get good pixelation with it, so I'll just go with that. So
Nice.
I don't spook them in that way. I'm not like quote unquote harassing them either, which tons of people have. Oh, dude, like the one reel I've got that I was flying through the flock, like
Yeah.
I really wasn't that close to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple of them like passed me by, but I wasn't really chasing them. Like I had it on pretty high zoom, and man, you would not believe the messages I got. Just like you piece of shit. Like
Really?
like, if I chased you with a drone, like I'm like, go for it, man. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, yeah, dude. Like you're gonna kill a bird. I'm like, I'm probably not. Like I'm not that close to him. Like, it's just ridiculous. And like again, that one, I was actually on my front door doing that one too. Like I'm blessed to be in a really cool like waterfowl spot.
That's awesome.
That is really cool, man. With posting them on Instagram and stuff, do you kind of have any sort of strategy for posting them, or like?
During season I did, like when the algorithm was good, like for hunters and outdoorsmen, like
Yeah.
now I'm just posting reels to make like just for fun. Like,
Sure.
I think you saw the one of my dog this morning of like about the boots hat, like it's like they're like boots hat bringing country back. So I mean, I put my boots on him, I put my like Drake hat on him, and I made him like force fetch hold like a little bag of Red Man chew.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, like I'm just trying to do like trendy stuff like that now, but during season I was trying to do like a post a day, and I would do like five posts and 2 reels. Like that's what I found worked for me. And this year was like my first like Instagram blow up. Like I went from probably like close to 1,500 to like I'm almost to 4K now. Like that was a good jump for me this year, and I was really hoping to get to 4K this year. Whatever. I'm not gonna let it control my life, but but that was a very shortly missed goal. But no, that's what I did during season. Was I was trying to get a post every day. Not only that, like your connection scores, like those go a long ways too, and like your engagement scores, and like go on the explore page, like similar pictures that you post, similar things that you post, comment on them, save them, share them.
For sure.
It was a grind during season, honestly. Like it was almost like a damn second job, dude. Like
Yeah,
I'd probably spend like a good half an hour of my day like just doing Instagram stuff, and I don't love the notion of that, but whatever, it was entertaining.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I know we've had several conversations over Instagram about, kind of, hey, what are you trying to do and this kind of thing. And, that's exactly right. Cause there's some days where, man, I got to check out. Cause I'm like, you do it for a week straight and you're hunting and doing your day job. And I know you have kids, so that's another thing. Yeah. Eventually you're just like, man, I got to like check out of my phone for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah.
Well, and the toughest thing, I think, with us, with all of us that are out there trying to put the message out, bring waterfowl hunting to social media, YouTube, all that stuff, is that, it is a second job. And it doesn't steal your enjoyment, but it just adds another piece to what you got to do in a tough hunting sport.
Sure.
Right. And especially when you're dealing with extremely cold environments where you have to keep your batteries going, where you're dealing with thunderstorms and marshes down in Florida, whatever it might be. But the thing that I think is so cool about it is how, if you do pay attention to those different algorithms and things like that, like you guys have been talking about, there's true benefit to anybody that's trying to grow their pages and stuff. Because Tristan laughs at me, like I'll do I've got a really fresh new TikTok, right? And I'll do a TikTok and I'll be texting, I'll be like, bro, guess what? And he's like, what? And I go, 1,400 views. And he's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good, Dad. And I'm so proud that the song went with this, and whatever. And really, what he's meaning to say to me was, that's kind of subpar.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to bump those up, kid. Like,
yeah. And I remember early on, we would get some good footage of something. In my opinion, it was good footage. And I'm like, why don't you show that? He goes, because it's not high enough quality. And I'm like, I don't really care if it's not high enough quality. Well, I'd go post it, and guess what? nothing. And so it really wasn't even worth posting. So it's interesting. Talk more about that, Drew. Like when you were talking about the different things that you evaluate, where do you go specifically? Like somebody's new, where would you go to view this stuff? On
the analytics,
the professional dashboard.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. Professional dashboard, like classify yourself as like a creator, so you can see who your audience is. Like it'll show you their age group, it'll be like where they're from, male or female or other, and like you can really you can really nail down, like without actually knowing them, like who your target audience is, and like try and appease them. Like one thing I've learned is that in this last like week and a half, especially, like I've just been using like trending audios like on goofy stuff, like again the one of the dog this morning.
Yeah,
like I mean I'm already at 20,000 views on it. I mean,
wow, that's great, man.
It works, so I've just been kind of like running with what works.
Heck yeah. And with that's one thing recently, because with the Instagram algorithm being after duck season, what you were talking about, I've been trying to focus on TikTok more, because we had our page deleted and then started back again with a new page, and I've been getting some good traction with the same kind of thing, like trending audios that I know go with whatever, and funny, kind of funny stuff. Like have you seen the guy, the emotional damage guy?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do stuff like that, like ducks fly by and you can't shoot them because you weren't ready, and then emotional damage.
Yeah.
we all need to pull a Johnny Depp clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about trending.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Oh man, dude, what a wild relationship. Like I was watching something where she was just straight up, like, pardon the language, just shitting on his bed. Like,
yeah,
what's the deal, girl? Like, what? Like, why are we just now having these conversations in court? What is going on?
Oh God. You
feel like that would have been the last step.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. Like I saw a TikTok, they were reading something. I want to say it was like they were going through his text messages, and it was something like sexual or whatever, and the prosecuting attorney was trying to put him on the spot and make him look like a bad guy, and the guy read it twice, which was overkill, and Johnny Depp just was like straight face, total business, like could you read that again, please? Like, and everybody in the court started dying laughing because they knew he was making fun of the prosecuting attorney. Because it's obviously embarrassing,
Read my dirty messages to my wife, bitch.
Yeah, dude.
Say it again.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we got to get freaking Captain Jack Sparrow free, man.
Yeah, right. We need to get him out duck hunting.
Oh,
right? I don't know if he'd go for that.
I don't know either.
I saw that he lives somewhere in like Europe or something. I saw like, or like he wants to live in Europe, or I don't know, man. I know that's a separate topic, but I don't know what it is like with these celebs who make so much money here in the States.
Yeah,
like trash the States and like move away. It's like, bro, like you're only moving there because you were here,
right?
Well, and they've just made
you wouldn't have blown up in Uzbekistan, bro. Like maybe in a different aspect, but like you wouldn't have been famous over there. Like, come on, like, you can't just trash the U.S. for that. Like, man, I don't know, man. People are crazy.
Maybe in a different aspect.
Gotta be careful in those stands, man. Like,
oh, dude, that's funny.
I mean, it's almost like you make so much money, and some of these folks just lose touch with reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
for sure.
Anyway, but well, to get back on topic, one of the things that and Tristan, I don't mean to be cutting ahead of you, but one thing we wanted to talk about was your unique companion you have there, and what's cool about your dog is he is different, and I want you to talk a little bit about why you chose that species, and the pluses and minuses, and just kind of what he does for you, and obviously it's a tight relationship and a bond that you create with these animals, and just talk more about him.
Yeah, for sure. So Odin is a wire-haired pointing griffon. He's our second griff. our first one, Chewy, I got him when we were still in Iowa, and I trained him on only upland, and then when we got over here to Idaho, I took him I started taking him with me duck hunting, and he was never that great of a fetching dog, and talk about a stubborn dog. He was an awesome dog, great with the kids and everything, but he was so stubborn. So I kind of gave up with fetch with him, but for some reason, in the water, he was a fetching machine. Yeah, weird. He wouldn't bring it all the way back sometimes. Like if he was in the current, like he would like come back with the current and kind of like drop it like 30 feet down and then come back. He's like, "Sup, dude?" you're like, all right, well, I mean, like I can't dog you, like, cause like I didn't train you to do this, and you got it from where I couldn't. So I mean, like, good job, I guess. Like, thank you. Like, but I mean, he got good as we went on. But the reason I went with that breed was one, like I was like, I'm still kind of allergic to dogs, not as much as I used to be, but they're labeled as hypoallergenic. And the reason they're labeled that way is, I mean, they don't have a ton of dander. They've got their undercoat and a top coat. So it just really keeps things nice and just chilled out when it comes to like shedding and dander. Sure. He still sheds, but not as much as like my mom and dad's lab. Like you pet him and it's like, holy shit, where'd this storm come from? Like, you know, like you pat him on the back and there's hair everywhere, right? And they and it drives them nuts because they keep his hair like pretty tame. Like they try hard, but not only that, Griffs, like if you do the research, like the way they were literally bred to be the ultimate hunting dog. This dude, I think his name is Henry Corthals, and sometimes you'll hear them mentioned as the Corthals Griffons too. But he started this line of dogs, and like he took pointers, he took retrievers, he took Griffons, he took wire hairs, like he took everything and molded them into this breed. And literally he's like, I'm gonna build the best hunting dog in the world. Like they've even, I mean, they're in their name it says pointer, but they've got web feet. Like they're phenomenal swimmers. So and yeah, so this dude literally was like, I'm gonna build the most badass hunting dog in the world. Like it's gonna retrieve, it's gonna point, it's gonna swim, like it's gonna be built for 20 miles in the upland hills. Like, and I mean, I think he was successful because last year was Odin's first season and we just went on a few pheasant hunts. But with Chewy, Jesus, man, like one cool story I like telling about Chewy is we were hunting the river one day, just shot a couple ducks. He brought one back, I grabbed the other one, and I walked up on the island because I thought I heard some quail behind me. So we walk up on the island, kind of walking around, and just boom, he just goes on point, like, and then hear these quail bust out in front of him. So you talk about like a dog that can do it all and can just flip the switch. Man, that was such a cool moment.
Wow,
that is so cool,
man. So as far as training, did you kind of walk us through, like, did you send them off at all? I know you do some, if not all, I see you do stuff with your dog, so I'm just wondering how does that training process go?
No, I did not send Chewy, nor am I going to send Odin off.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing against people who do that. Mm-hmm. I got really good friends who do that. For me, it's just, I like building that relationship with them when I train them. Yeah. And it's the little quirks. Like one of the cool things Sarah mentions about like Chewy, like when we were hunting upland, like I didn't have to say a word to that dog. Mm-hmm. And rarely ever whistle for him at all. Like just a little like that. Like if he's kind of doing his own thing, but he keyed off my shoulders, which was really cool. So I could be walking one way and I'm like, okay, cool. I need to go this other way. I just give him a little whistle and I just walk the other way and boom, he bolts and then he's in front of my path. Like, wow. It's cool. Like little things like that, I mean, you can get that sending him to someone else, but it's for me, it's just a little intangible bonds.
Sure. That's awesome. And people, my thing with, and I'm in the same boat you're in with, my fiance is allergic to dogs, and we've been talking about different dogs and, something that would be doable for her, but also that could be a hunting dog, And I just find that really interesting. But one of the things about sending the dogs off is I feel like you miss all that good like puppy time, you know, and it's kind of like whatever, kind of girly to say whatever, but it's true. Like you want to, you know, enjoy that part of having your dog. Like I don't want to send it off the first 6-8 months I have it, you know.
It's like a teeter-totter of, am I doing it more bad than good?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I guess it just comes down to what you're willing to put into it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's a grind, man. Like with Odin and I, we do something every day, whether it's spending literally like 2 minutes on force fetch one night, or whether it's, you know, doing a duck drag in the top pasture or planting pigeons for them or something. Like we do something every day in that, and it's tough. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's a grind, man. So I can totally see why people would want to send their dog off. They got families, they got kids, a full-time job. Like it's tough, man. It's a full-time job in itself.
Wow,
cool. Well, you know, it's definitely, you know, when you guys look like peas and carrots. Whenever I'm sitting there looking at this picture, and I was like, you know, with your Fu Manchu, it just goes with him. It just works. Man. It just does. It's a perfect flow.
Yeah, it's like
we both got stashes. So, I mean, it
works. So I was gonna say it's like dog version of human and dog, same thing.
Yeah, like again on that breed, like they've got all those furnishings on their face, like to protect their face while upland hunting. So like that's what's neat is these dogs, like there's nothing on them that isn't for a purpose. Like it's a really cool, interesting read if you ever want to like look up like how he did it. Like it's pretty interesting because like the furnishings over their eyes, like it's hard to see their eyes because they're bounding through the upland brush, like it's to protect their eyes. And like by the end of a hunting season, like they'll lose most of their furnishings, so it makes sense. You're like, okay, cool, like those actually served a purpose. Like wow. It's pretty neat.
And are those pretty are they pretty hard to find a breeder, and are they pretty like expensive? How does that work?
It depends on the area, man. Like when we were in Iowa and we were looking for our first one, when we were looking for Chewy, we had to go to Minnesota for him.
Wow.
But here in Idaho, they're a pretty popular breed. One, because of the upland opportunities we have in Idaho.
Sure.
And the more mountainous, like rugged terrain, where like the ultimate machine is kind of a needed thing. Like they're decently popular here, along with German wire hairs too.
Okay. Heck yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research on those, because I mean, to hear you say that's exactly kind of the build of a dog that I'm looking for, you know, that's hypoallergenic, you know, and that kind of thing. So,
well, and obviously,
dude,
he does very well in the cold weather too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, for sure. Like, and they're people pleasers for sure. Like 110%. Like I don't. It's kind of interesting. Like Odin, I don't train with treats at all. Not since he was a puppy. Like that dude is purely on just appreciation. Like we're doing force fetch, I'll take the bumper out of his mouth and be like, good job, man. Like, and he gets so amped up and so excited that he almost knocks me over every time. So like, I don't need to use treats, you know, and, great with kids. Like I've never really met a mean griff, you know, like Odin lets the kids crawl all over him. Chewy, he was the same way, you know, compared to, we had an Aussie, and I mean, I loved the Aussie. He was a good dog in his own aspects, but you know, the kids crawl on him and he would get all pissed, you know. It's like, well, dude, they're kids, like just walk away. but the Griffs, man, like they've been so awesome. And I can't see myself buying another dog other than a Griff. Like the only other dog I'd buy is probably like a Basset Hound, and that's going to be my like retirement dog. like he's going to get fat with me sitting on the porch. Like that's the goal for that dog, but that's like a long ways down the road. But yeah, man, like I'd love to have another Griff here in 2-3 years or so.
How did you come up with the name Odin for him?
We're big Marvel characters, and we kind of wanted big Marvel characters. Geez, big Marvel fans.
Right.
So we wanted a kind of a character name. Like it was between that and Captain. Like we would have called him Cap. Like it just didn't flow, honestly. But when you look at his picture, like all his furnishings, like the Griffons, they look so regal. I'm like, dude, Odin kind of fits. Like they've got that look, you know, and also they were kind of like a North European breed. So like, whatever, it works. Like
Now, Odin, that's from Thor, right?
yeah.
Is that the gatekeeper guy?
No, he's Odin's the king.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was gonna say because the gatekeeper guy has those eyes like that, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's not a bad idea.
So I was wondering, I was like, man, if that was his name and you keyed on those eyes, that's pretty creative.
Oh man, dude, that's gonna bug me. What's that dude's name?
I don't know. Damn. Yeah, he has the sword and guards the whatever.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Idris Elbus isn't he played him?
I don't know.
Iris? Yeah, I think that's him. But yeah, man, that was a good,
For sure.
badass dude for sure. But yeah, that's how we landed on that. And it's easy to say. Like, I'm a big fan of short syllabled names for hunting dogs. Just easy to say.
Heck yeah.
I mean, in the field, like, don't want to sit in there like Ezekiel. You're sitting there like Ebenezer, like screaming at these dogs with like 7 or 8 syllables. You know, it's tiring, man. Like,
for sure, dude.
So that's something I kept in mind too.
So what kind of setup are you running out there with as far as motor and boat wise?
So I've got a 1756 Havoc MSTC. It's the mud motor one that's got the inverted keels on the bottom, and then I've got a Gator Tail 40. I think it's like a 2020 model. That's what I've got. I like it here in the valley on the river. Like, you've got a lot of Chevy versus Ford guys with jet versus surface drive, just because like the river fluctuates so much depth wise. My first motor was a prop. I chewed the hell out of that prop the first time, and next time, by the time I like learned the river more, like, it wasn't as bad. But it's nice having something that sits on top of the water for sure. Definitely sacrifice some speed with the mud motor. Like, I've got a couple other buddies that have jets, and one guy's got like a 115 jet, and he obviously flies by me. But but the only reverse to that is there are some like spots in the river that are chock full of weeds. Like, I can blow right through. Right. As they both have their ups and downs, but that's why I landed on that.
Nice. And so what, when we're thinking about, that classic image of Idaho, which you can quickly get by a lot of your pictures. What kind, we talk about different places that we go to hunt. We go hunt lakes, ponds, marshes, rivers, flooded timber, private land, farm fields, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of talk about your terrain and the different types of terrain you get into. And maybe there's only just the one. It's along the river. I'm not sure. But talk to us about the terrain and the different opportunities where you go to hunt these ducks.
Yeah, for sure. Like 99% of the time, I'm just on the river. But what's cool is that the Snake River flows all the way up through Idaho, all the way to, into Washington, right? It dumps into the Columbia. So I've got a lot of acreage, and I'll drive anywhere from 5 minutes to, like, this year we branched out pretty far down south a couple times, like 2.5 hours, but it's on the same body of water. That's what's kind of neat. And it varies so much from every area. Like, where I'm at, it's pretty slow. It's pretty shallow. Then you go like an hour and a half south, and above the dam, it's ridiculously deep, a little faster, and it fluctuates every day because of the dam let off. And we learned that lesson one time. It was hard to get my dad's really nice Kingfisher jet, like, off of dry land.
Oh no.
Like, it took like 4 dudes to drag this thing back into the water. But and then, like, you keep going further south, and it's still a little deeper just because it's more dammed up in those areas. But they've got little buoys out there that say caution shallow water, and like, we're looking, I'm like, man, that's like 10 feet deep. like that ain't shallow. Like, 6 inches is shallow. Like,
right.
Where I'm at, right? Like,
sure.
But it's pretty crazy how much it differs. But all in all, I'm still hunting the same body of water.
I got you. Is it now? obviously the water fluctuating and stuff. Do you guys look for times like, hey, if the river goes up at this so many feet, it's going to flood this area, and I know it's going to be good, or that kind of thing?
Yes, but no, not so much the like flooding an area, because I mean the islands here are there, and the bank, it's pretty set. Like you're really not going to get a good enough flood to make a spot good or anything. But what I do look at is you can actually sign up on USGS for text updates every day on CFS coming down in certain areas. So what I do is I've got that, and I get a text every day. It's like, hey, right now the river's at 55,000 CFS coming down. I'm like, okay, cool. And over the course of 3-4 years, I've learned what that does to certain areas.
Now, when you say CFS, what does that mean?
Man, you're making me look silly here. I think it's like cubic feet per second.
Oh,
coming
okay.
Down.
Oh, okay, so like the speed of the river.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Just or volume, really.
Oh, okay.
But
gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah. So there's definitely areas that I'll hunt. Like I'll be like, oh, dude, the river's below 6,000. Like this spot's gonna be sweet because it's gonna be shin high, like halfway across the river, and it's just gonna be easy.
Nice.
And the birds like it right now, so we're gonna hit that. Or on the opposite side, it's like, damn, the river's over 10,000. I honestly don't even want to go hunting this weekend. Because it's like it changes so much. And like right now it's pretty shallow. Like it's 5,500 coming down. But 3 years ago we had just torrential rain pours the spring before and that winter. And it was 25,000 CFS coming down.
Wow.
Like that. Yeah. An insane difference. And like, just looking at the river, I'm like, dude, why would anybody put their boat on that? Like it's ripping fast, it's deeper than shit. Like the fishing would have been terrible, like let alone hunting. No thanks. But
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how different the ecosystem out here just changes all the time, just with the depth alone.
Well, and Drew, so and I'm trying, and I keep trying to build these pictures to help not only myself but people listening or tuning in to help visualize, what you're doing out there. So, if we're in a moist soil area, we're looking for different things from hydrilla to smart weeds to, the different classic, the millets, the wild millets, all those different things that we're looking for that ducks are going to eat. You're looking for your floating small acorns or whatever it might be. But then on the other side of it, you have your private land, you have your crops, that feed a lot of waterfowl. What are you guys keying on up there, if anything? Is it a lot of the staging area? Are they feeding in the river? I mean,
yeah. So the divers will feed in the river a little bit, but for the main part, man, like for the puddle ducks and like your greenheads, I'm looking for like early to mid morning staging in loaf areas. That's really all I hunt, just because we have so much agriculture around the river that they don't need water. They don't need feed on the water. So they come to roost, they roost, and then they come back to loaf after they feed to the river. So I like to go scouting around. Like my favorite times is usually between like 10:30 and noon, just because I know at that time the bird's there, they've ate, and they're there to chill. That's just where they want to be. I don't like, it's hard to get private land here now to hunt it. With the influx of out-of-staters, like farmers just aren't as apt to really gain access to you. But as far as just like hunting the river on like what I do is, I'm just looking for those loafs, man. And they seem to like points of islands a lot. Every once in a while you'll find them in a cutout along the bank. But I mean, at the end of the day, just trying to be where they're at,
Sure. So Drew, you said, like where they like to get together, and you've heard on a recent podcast, do you use coots in your decoy setup?
I will neither confirm nor deny that I use coots, but there might be like 36 of them sitting in my shed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If I'm doing a diver hunt, 10 times out of 10, I'm throwing coots out there. But other than that, I'm like, I try to match the loaf. Like, so if and I've got a wide array of decoys. So like if I'm watching this loaf and it's like, okay, I got mallards, I got widgeon, I got like a dozen golden eyes there and a handful of coots, like that's what I'm putting out the next day that I hunt. Like exact. And I'll put them out the exact way they're sitting.
Heck yeah.
The only thing I'll change is like maybe throwing some goose silhouettes on the bank, because I mean it's something that won't really hurt you very often with ducks at least. So that's what I'm doing. Like to me, it's not rocket science. I don't know why haven't figured it out. at least in this area, because you just got to match it, man. Like one day, me and two buddies, we went out and I scouted the day before, and there's just this huge loaf, man. Like there's like 10 dozen ducks out there, and anything you could think of, just a smorgasbord. So we literally like scounged up all of our decoys and threw them all out. Just everything. We tried to match like how they were sitting and everything, but like we had mallards, we had widgeon, golden eyes, buffleheads, coots, geese, gadwalls, I mean teal, like anything you could think of. And this guy even has this little hand-painted common merganser drake that he made out of an old flambeau. Like, it's the funniest damn thing, but man, I swear we limit every time he puts it out. But so maybe put that in your back pocket. But like we even had that out there, and it was like pretty close to our blind, you know. And I'll be damned, we come out with a 3-man limit that day. Like it's you know, that's what works for us.
Now, what time you say you're hunting loaves? Do you guys still get out there like at first light just in case, or are you kind of getting, you know, maybe 8, 9 o'clock? Like what time do you get out there?
Oh, we get out there early for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like out here you'll get your like first light flight. Right. And, then you might see a lull for an hour, and then it gets hot for an hour and a half, another half-hour lull, and then it gets hot for an hour, and then you're done. You know, I mean, okay. I'm pretty much, no matter what the day, noon is usually my cutoff. Like you're pretty lucky to have a good flight after noon. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like if I've got 6 out of my 7 ducks at noon, I'm going home. it's just not
whoa.
Yeah.
What do you mean 6 out of 7?
We just
ducks?
both were like, when you said 7 ducks, we're like, So what do you mean 7 ducks?
Dude, you can shoot 7 a day in Idaho.
Huh. That's completely different than anything.
Babe, we're selling the house.
and they can get this, and they can all be mallard drakes.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, we need to move out to Idaho.
The only regulation with mallards here is you can't shoot more than 2 hens in your bag.
Okay.
So like you can shoot, 5 drakes and 2 hens, and there's your duck limit for the day, and we've got other things too. Like, over here in Idaho, you can only shoot 1 pintail per day per person, 2 redheads, 1 canvas back, lesser bluebills. You can't shoot them till like 2nd week in November. I mean, every state's got their little quirks, but we're 7 bird limit here.
That's pretty neat and very unique. Definitely the first time I've heard that of any state.
Right. Yeah. So you could literally come out because y'all can't shoot more than 4 greenheads, right?
Right.
Well, actually, and technically in Georgia you can only shoot 2, but we don't get any migratory ones. So
yeah. So
wild.
The central or the your middle states, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, all the way down Louisiana, all that is going to be your traditional 4 mallards.
Yeah.
And
so you can
no more than 1 Susie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can come out here. You can come out of Idaho like with 7 greenheads a day, or 5 drakes and 2 hens. Like they're pretty lenient on that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, and we've had those days too, where like we're just stacking greenheads. Like, dude, this is so badass. Like,
that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Be a heavy. Sorry, we're over the 50 pound limit flying back to Georgia.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, like when we get those northerners here, like, dude, they're so freaking huge, man. They're massive.
I remember that picture you shared a while back.
Oh, was I holding both, like two of them, and then like that hen in my mouth or something like that?
I remember seeing you sent me a picture of you holding one like out in front of you and took a picture of it. I don't know if you even posted it, but I remember you sent me a picture over DM.
Oh, was I like borderline bald in that picture? I think like that was
maybe
that was like a couple of years ago. But yeah, dude, like you'll get huge mallards every once in a while. You're like, damn, like you're straight up from like Siberia, bro. Like you're huge. Like
that's what happened with one I shot in Arkansas this year. That you probably saw that picture Tristan posted. It might have been last Monday. It had the white curls.
Dude, that was so cool. Like,
yeah,
I love little things like that rather than like, oh man, like he's an obvious like obvious hybrid's like still cool. Like hybrid's still really, really cool. Like don't get me wrong, I take one every day, but those little things like that, like white curls, or I've seen I saw this one dude had a mount of a spec and its second primary wing was all white, like on both sides. Like so, like little things like that, super cool.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, dude, those white curls were badass.
Well, the first thing that when I walked up to, I didn't even notice the curls until after the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But when I walked up to when the dog brought it to me and I picked it up, I was like, dude, this thing is like a Boone and Crockett mallard. Its face was fat, its neck was fat, its body was fat. I just never seen a mallard, and we had shot several of them that last year, and this one was it was a boss.
Heck yeah.
Call up SCI, we're getting this thing measured today.
Be like, yeah, so he's definitely going on the wall. He's a taxidermist, so
yeah, we just dropped about 11 birds off the taxidermist. So,
oh geez, I got two in there right now. I've got, I finally got my wood duck that has two bands on it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so he's got the only thing that sucks, he's a little younger Drake, but still cool. But he's got a silver band, and then he's got a blue tarsal on the other leg.
That's so cool.
And then let's see, then I sent in a lesser bluebill, little scop.
That's cool.
The reason I sent that one in is like because we had to put I've talked about Chewy. We had to put him down not this January, but last January. He had cancer. He was only 5, and and that bird was one of his coolest retrieves. Like I stoned this bird, and you guys know how it is with divers. Like they'll hop right back up.
Yeah.
Right. So I just absolutely stoned this bird like a rock out of the sky, and he hits the water, and Chewy's out there going after him. All of a sudden, like he must have done some good favors because he just like came back to life, and like not a little bit, like a lot. Like, either that or he's wearing a steel helmet, and that shit just knocked him out. But this bird swam upriver and all the way across the river, and like we were above the dam in this spot, and it's deep, it's big, it's wide, like. And this dog, dude, he went all the way after this thing, and he had to have been like, dude, like easily 1,000+ yards away. Like he went after this bird, like across the river, up along the bank, grabbed it and brought it back. Like just a cool retrieve, you know. And like for me, that's more sentimental to put on the wall than like if that bird had been like a hybrid and I went and picked it up. I'm like, man, that's a cool duck. I'm still gonna mount it, but like. For me, it's the sentimental ones, and those are the only bird mounts I have. Is essentially ones that Chewy has got so far.
See, that's a perfect example of I had posted a TikTok when I first started in my duck hunting wall with like my mounts and stuff, and the only things I got a Drake and a hen wood duck, my first 2 wood ducks that I got in the same morning, and then a nice ringneck. And I posted it on TikTok, and it did pretty good. And some guy commented on it and said, "Oh, that's cool, but those are some trash birds." And it's like,
cool, man, you're trash.
Yeah, and it's like, why do you
like? Oh yeah, and your mom does. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and it's like, imagine if I would have came back to him with a story like what you had with, with Chewy. Like he would have felt like an asshole. And it's like that's the kind of stuff, man.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
just don't
for
judge
sure.
anybody, you know.
Yeah, like I mean, with those 2 birds, I'll have 4 total. Like, and right now I've got a pheasant, I've got a rooster pheasant from Chewy's last pheasant hunt, a really nice big mallard from like that was one of his like cool retrieves in his last year. And then I'll have that wood duck, which I was with my dad, and that was like my first year duck hunting, like by myself, like, and dad came with me too. So like we got that wood duck together. We both shot it.
That's cool.
And then, and then this last one was just a really cool retrieve. Like it's just about sentimental for me, and the plans I have for Odin, like same thing. I mean, I'm going to be switching it up a little bit this year. Like I'm still going to duck hunt a lot, but I'm probably not going to duck hunt until like November, like mid-November.
Yeah.
Idaho has really cool upland bird opportunities. There's over I think there's 9 or more. I think there's like 9 or 10 upland species you can hunt.
Wow.
Yeah, we're blessed. Like you can hunt 5 species of grouse, like your 3 forest grouse, your sage grouse, your sharptails. You got chucker, you got Hungarian partridge, pheasant, quail. I mean, you've got a bunch of different birds. So this year I'm actually going to try. I'm going to try and do all of like Idaho's Upland Slam. I'm going to try and get it done before mid-November. So
wow.
yeah, like it's going to be a task, but and it's going to be a hell of a taxidermist bill. But how, I mean, like, just like thinking to myself, like, how cool would that be? Like a second year dog, like, in 2.5 months gets a whole state slam of like 10 birds, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be incredible, man. I'm excited to see just what you post as that goes on. It's gonna be really neat.
Heck yeah. Well, Drew, we really appreciate you coming on the show today. For me, I know you and Tristan talk a lot and stuff, so it was a good opportunity for me to get to know you a little bit more and stuff.
Yeah.
But if y'all are out there and you're following us, you definitely got to look up Flock Doc, man. I mean, you got to check out his stuff. He's got some of the coolest drone footage of stuff, especially like the snow geese stuff that you were doing this year. I thought was really cool.
The drone may or may not be out for repair right now. Like I allegedly, or may or may not, have accidentally got smoked by a bird.
Damn.
And fell like 100 feet out of the sky.
No.
So, I mean, that's just what I've heard. I don't think it's true, but
it was somebody else's drone that hit you.
It was just someone else in general. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but yeah, no, I appreciate you guys bringing me on, man. It's been fun. Again, get to know you a little bit more, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to having you guys out this next year. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a good time. And yeah, you guys, if you haven't yet, go check out Drew's page at the Flock Doc on Instagram. That's kind of where I stopped talking. And Tristan, you talk about social media and what else, how people can connect with us and follow us.
Yeah, man, we're super excited to get out there, Drew, and it's going to be a really crazy opportunity for us. So thank you for extending that to us, and we're excited to take you up on it. So, and certainly anytime you want to come hunt the marsh, we got you, or even Arkansas. So
for sure, man, I definitely do. Like you said, we got to get some of those. Get you guys some of those birds over here that you can't get down there, and vice versa, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, but that pretty much wraps up this week's podcast. Again, you can find Drew at the Flock Doc on Instagram, and you can find us on Zero Duck 30. And if you would, please like and subscribe. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on a midnight train.